My take is that if someone thinks cyber GRC is bad, it's probably due to bad implementations that they've been around in the past. Because GRC as a whole, it's working for a lot of us, and that may be hard for some people to hear because we love to make like problems are like way off in the distance, something we can't control. When a lot of times the problem is in the room with us at a given point in time. But the good news is it doesn't have to be that way. For a given implementation, you think that it's too compliance focused. Well, take a step back and assess the risk, do something about it. If you think the company's good at dealing with risk, but they don't know the first thing about compliance, well, review your policy and process documentation, do what it needs to be done so you can focus on compliance and use it as a competitive advantage to close deals, avoid fines, penalties, and lawsuits. When it comes to governance, if you think the board is being left in the dark and not supporting you, well, the GRC team can do some things to close that gap. Give them that situational awareness of what you're working on. Show them the return on investment that comes with supporting your efforts. When you do that, give the board that clarity. They'll give you their buy-in, and then it's better for your team and it's better for the company as a whole if the things that you're talking about really are what the company needs. And it kind of frustrates me when senior level people that do have the ability to and the power to fix this prefer to complain about the GRC function. Like a month or two ago, there was this popular post on LinkedIn, and this guy was talking about a CISO friend he has that just always craps on the GRC function. And it was kind of crazy to me because you're the chief information security officer. Like half the time, the CISO oversees the GRC team. So if you're complaining about that team, you're really just complaining about yourself and things that you're not doing, right? And if it's the other half of the time and the GRC team wasn't under that CISO, the post didn't say, well, you're still the chief information security officer. Use your influence to communicate with them a better way forward on this stuff. And if they're just not going to go along with what you say, well, make their job harder for a while. Give them those reminders over time. Use your influence as the chief information security officer, because when you're the CISO, you're probably talking regularly to the CIO, the CTO, the COO, the CFO, the CEO. Use that to your ability. And if you can't communicate as to why things should be different, then maybe you're wrong and they're actually working as intended and you're the problem. Or maybe you just can't communicate well and you need to work on your communication. Because this stuff, it really can work. When it comes down to it, GRC is really just about setting direction, having oversight, finding risk, dealing with the risk, and focusing on compliance so we can verify that these things are working as intended. It doesn't have to be bad, but we need to do what it takes to make it work for us.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you, man. And I think you're hitting on a lot of points. One, accountability. Like if if I'm in charge of security, like I should probably be involved in the solution, right? And then I think too, like there's a lot. It's easy for GRC to be this punching bag, I think. But I think at the same time, like the reason why so many of us love this field and are interested in it is because it's super important and it's valuable. Like it's the whole reason why, like when I got out of the army, I fell in love with GRC because I was like, oh, there's a purpose here. Like there's actually a reason for this. I'm not just kind of running around in circles. Like this actually matters. And to your point, like there's a G, an R, and a C function, and that's what really matters. Like when you only focus on the compliance, you're like, well, I'm not giving any value. Well, a control is supposed to reduce risk. So if your controls aren't doing that, like that's again, it's a you problem, not a GRC problem. And I think it's part of why like I'm pushing it so much on this GRC engineering front is because I think if we figure out ways to improve the data that we're operating from, similar to like this AI space, right? There's a lot of people that will complain and say, oh, AI sucks. It's not doing what I like to do. And like, it's like a funny joke in like the tech world, like that's a skill issue. Like it's like it's poor communication. Like at the end of the day, AI is only going to be as good as you can communicate with it. So you probably struggle with communication. And to your point, like if you're a senior leader, whether running a GRC program or a CISO, and you're complaining about your GRC program, chances are they're executing according to your standards. You probably push them to get the SOC 2 or whatever by any means necessary,
Yeah.
and didn't care. And so guess what they're doing? They're going to do that. They're not caring about risk or governance. They're just caring. So it's like, maybe look internally to your point and like figure out, like, am I communicating the objectives that I actually want to get the value out of this? Or did I allow the pressure? Because I understand there's a business side of it, right? The board's pressuring you. And you know, if you go take this shiny thing up there, people are going to, hey, congratulations. But you have to balance that, especially if you're going to say they're not giving me the value, they're expensive or whatever, which is a big conversation right now too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then especially when talking to GRC engineering folks like yourself, sometimes we'll hear, well, things need to be more automated. Well, where did it say don't automate it? Just fix your process and automate it then. And on the other hand, it's if a more traditional GRC practitioner is saying that things are too automated, we're missing things left and right. Well, your assurance checks must not be what they need to be. Take the
Right.
time to do some more assurance checks. You got to find the right balance between automation and process. Use your people as needed. It can go too far in this direction. It can go too far in that direction. You got to find that right balance. It's not a broken process. You need to just optimize it.
Right. And it's a lot of times I think those complaints come from places where they're not thinking about the context of their organization. It's like, hey, like automation only will work if it makes sense for your org. Like my book is GRC engineering for AWS. If you're on Azure, chances are there's going to be a couple different things. Like you might be able to use a little bit of it, but there's going to be some differences, and you can't just kind of think like, all right. And I think that's where we kind of got into this world of like everything should be automated, and it's like, no, like that's not happening. One, and automation doesn't mean remove humans. It means just maybe a better way to collect the evidence, better way to have some conversations. And I think, like, again, to your point, it's like, if you feel that we've shifted one way or the other, like you have a chance to do this. And GRC to me can be such a powerful tool for so many different things, whether it's security budget, whether that's communicating. And I think this has happened over the last 5 years where communicating security has become a competitive advantage. What better way to do that than having a strong GRC program, especially in a sea of everybody has X amount of certs? Okay, so yes, you have this one, but what did you do differently? Like, how are you thinking about it that makes yours stand out, and to really use it to help you close a deal, to help you. And then I think too, like, we're entering into a world with all this AI stuff and the younger generation coming up where they want to work on cool things. They want to work with cool technology. That's why there's been a decrease in the amount of accounting majors and people entering the CPA profession. And I think if you kind of imagine GRC as this value add thing that you're talking about, like, hey, it can work and it can be good, and you start to put some of that positive energy into it, the same way that we used to put positive energy into like DevSecOps and cloud security. Like that was the thing. It's like, oh yeah, and then you want to go work at a company that's on the advancement of DevSecOps. I'm hoping we can do the same thing with GRC. Like, let's switch the narrative, right, to where this is a valuable thing, and now people want to go and they're excited about going and doing the work because they see the value.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the part where the companies focus on like compliance to close deals, is that ideal? No, it's not ideal, but it's better than nothing, right? If these
Right.
companies are doing something rather than nothing so they can close deals. I made a post about this a few days ago. It's
Yeah.
like when you see people in the gym, a lot of times they're there to work out so they can look good and get dates. Is that bad? Like, should you say, oh, you should be doing this? It doesn't matter. You're doing something good.
Right.
It's great. Do something good. Use the GRC to your advantage, but don't cheat. Don't cheat the process. Don't cheat yourself.
Right.
Risk first, then compliance, and you can't go wrong. It won't be compliance theater if you're tending to your risk first.
100%. I used to tell my soldiers when I was in the army that I don't care what your motivation is that you're here, whether it's school, whether it's
Yeah.
benefits, whether you just wanted to wear boots. Like, we're here now, guys. Like, we're all soldiers, so let's just go out and like execute as soldiers. Like, whatever the motivation is, cool. Like, I'm glad that. And I mean, I used to be a founder in this space, and I would have companies that come to me and say, I truly do not care about this. I just need this to close a deal. And I say, great, man. Like, let's help you get there. But here's some things I'm going to teach you along the way, because it's still, you still can go through it. And I think people get so caught up in like, well, I joined this company and all they care about is the deal. Well, hey man, they're a business. Like, that's how they pay you. Like, so they have to get revenue. I'm sorry to break the bad news to you. They're not going to care that much about your SOC 2 if it's not driving revenue. That doesn't mean you can't use it, to your point, to actually drive change. I think this is such a good take and a good reminder, because I think sometimes in the noise of, the space right now, people forget that one, like this is a business, man. Like, and I think to your original take, like GRC is working for people. So like it might be a you thing. Like this thing is actually working out here. People are driving really good outcomes because they're doing this right. And if you just go a little deeper, maybe you can find the same outcomes.
Absolutely.